Hey guys, it's Brittany with Scott Leroy Marketing. Today I'm going to be showing you how to preserve your groups and tags when utilizing PieSync. This process will work for most of the platforms that PieSync has available. However, today I will be showing you how this works specifically with bringing contacts over to Command from the Gmail platform. So to start, I'm logged into KW Command, and I'm just going to click on my name in the top right-hand corner and then click on Settings. So what we're going to be doing first is making sure that any labels that I have set up in Gmail that I'm trying to bring over to Command with those contacts are set up as custom tags on the Command platform. So I'm just going to, once I'm on the integrations page, I'm just going to click on Command Settings on the left-hand side, and then I'm going to click on Contacts, which is nestled right underneath, and then I'm going to click on Custom Tags. So these may take a second to load depending on how many tags you have set up. So I'm just going to confirm that the tags that I have in Gmail are populating in this section. So now what I'm going to do is I have my Gmail account open up in a separate tab. And this is just my regular Gmail page where all my emails would populate. I'm just going to click on this icon up here, essentially the box of dots. And I'm just going to click on Contacts. And this is going to pull up the contacts that I'm looking to move over from Gmail into Command. And as you can see, I have them all labeled, so you want to make sure that these contacts have been labeled and that these labels are added into the back end of the Command platform. So I have buyers, I have my family, FL friends, and then also sellers. So now what I want to do is when I go back into Command, I want to make sure that I have buyers, sellers, and then when I go to the next page, I have friends and family. So what I'm actually going to do is merge my family and my FL friends into one group, and I'll show you guys how to do that as well. So now that I have those set up, I'm just going to go back to Applications, and this is where all of your integrations will populate. So you're just going to scroll down. PieSync should be about halfway down. It's right here. And we're just going to click on Connect Account. And then once this page loads, if you've never used PieSync before, it will come up with their terms and conditions. Just accept it, and then it will bring you right to this page. So once I'm up here, Google Contacts should be the first, or at least in the top row for most of you because it's very popular. So I'm just going to click on Google Contacts, and then I'm just going to click on Add a New Account. Because I'm logged into my Gmail on the same browser, it should auto-log you in. If you're not, it will just ask you for the email address and then the password, just like you're logging into Gmail. Once you've added that information, you're going to get this pop-up essentially just allowing PieSync access to that account, so I'm just going to click Allow. And then it should take a second, but then you should see this page. Once you have this page up, the first thing that you want to look at is right at the top. So you're going to see a series of arrows. Right now we have it set up as a two-way sync. What I'm planning on doing today is just bringing contacts over from Gmail to Command. So I'm actually going to click on the far left arrow. If you're doing this vice versa, you want to bring Command contacts over to Gmail, you would essentially click on this arrow. Or if you want them just to feed back and forth to each other, you would use the two arrows pointing back and forth. So once we have that set up, we're going to move down to connection rules. Connection rules are going to be where we add in the rules that will essentially tell PieSync which label will match up with which custom tag is already set up in Command. So this is where you're essentially going to allow those two things to communicate with one another. Once we're in connection rules, I'm just going to delete the second rule because that's now obsolete where we're only going from Gmail to Command. You're going to see this. If a contact is in Google Contacts, we're going to click on Add Filter, and we're going to click on the drop-down list, Has Label, and then you want to select the label. We're going to start with buyers because it's first. Click on buyers, then sync it from Google Contacts to KW Command. We're going to click on Add Action and add a tag. And then all we're going to do is we're just going to click on buyer. So that's my first rule. So what this is telling it is that any contact that is labeled as a buyer in my Gmail account is automatically going to come over and then add the tag buyer in Command. So then we're going to add a whole new rule and do the exact same thing. So drop down, Has Label, and then I'm going to click on sellers. That way I can do the merged one last. Add tag, and then seller. And then I'm going to add an additional rule. We're going to do this one, we will do FL friends. And then I'm going to add tag. But this one was a little bit different because I'm actually going to do friends and family. And then my last rule has label. I'm going to do my family, add tag, and do the exact same one. So what that's going to do is any contacts that I have labeled as FL friends and any contacts that I have labeled as my family will actually share the tag friends and family in command. So that's also a way for you to condense the amount of labels that you have, or if you're trying to just kind of limit the amount of labels that are coming over, that will allow you to bring over all of your contacts and just kind of shrink that number of labels down. So now once I have this set up, all I'm going to do is scroll down. You will notice that Command and essentially the PieSync platform will not allow any contacts to move over from Gmail if they do not have a valid email address. Unfortunately, there's no way around that. So if your contacts are primarily phone numbers or physical street addresses, my recommendation would be just to manually export those contacts from Gmail rather than going through the PieSync process. This is going to be primarily to bring over contacts that have email addresses and maybe additional contact information. But without that email address, they will be skipped. So now once I have all of that filled out, I'm just going to scroll down. These rules are all standard, so middle name, first name, last name. These are all standard. If there's something that you do want to edit, this is where you would do that. Or if you don't want certain things to come over, you can turn these off as well. And then all I'm going to do is just click Start Syncing. You'll get this pop-up, and I'm just going to click Start Syncing. So contacts, depending on how many you have, can take up to an hour. We've seen them take up to 24 hours. It completely depends on how many contacts you have currently in your account. However, this is also a great screen to have because it's going to tell you new contacts in command today, 6. So that means all my contacts came over. If for some reason I had contacts that did not have email addresses, they would be on the excluded platform. Failing to sync, when you click on failing to sync, it will actually tell you what the error is. So that way you can figure out why they're not coming over and then correct it. So now that we have that done, I'm just going to X out of this. This will continue to sync. So as I add people into my Gmail account and label them with those labels that have been set up, they will come over. But keep in mind, the way that we have this set up currently, if I add somebody into my Gmail contacts section and I don't tag them as one of the labels I have set up in PieSync, those contacts will not come over. So those rules are very restrictive. They will bring those labels over and add them as tags, but it won't bring over anybody outside of that. So just keep that in mind. So now all I'm going to do is click on contacts and just make sure that these are all populating. And here they are, right at the top. We have Bob Smith, Brittany, and they all came over. So that is how you are able to link up PieSync with your KW command platform and keep your tags. And you can also do this vice versa and essentially take your tags and move them over as labels into Gmail. And again, this will also work on other platforms.